Hello there, YouTubers and God's owners. I checked my inbox on my YouTube, and in regard to a YouTube I did about the spirit of Jezebel, I got this comment from Not Gonna Bow One, and it says there is no mention in the Bible of a spirit of Jezebel. It is something man made up. Jezebel symbolized the whore of Babylon, queen of heaven. When people misbehave, it's called sin. I guess it would be nice to blame it on the dead. Hey God, didn't mean to do it. My dead grandma possessed me, and she made me do it. A lot of laughs. Okay, and I guess what that means is um, we're not going to dissect the sin to see the likeness between sin and spirits. Uh, I guess that's one way of looking at it. And this channel may be for Chance and Queeny cameraman. I'm not sure. But it's interesting that you're so quick to not give the spirit its due. This whole not biblical thing. Not biblical. What the hell does that mean, not biblical? You know, just about everything that anybody can say that they get out of the Bible, another guy can get up there and say that it's not biblical because the wording, you got to go into the Strongs to find out. You know, most everything that Pastor Murray teaches uh, about the serpent seed and the gap theory, uh, first earth age, second earth age, uh, 99% of the Christians will all stand up to you and tell you that's not biblical. And they're reading the same book you are. So I don't put a whole lot of credence in those words, it's not biblical. Because from people like Chance and other people on the net that I've learned a lot of things from over the years, one of the very first things I learned, and one of the hardest to accept, was the infallibility of the King James book, with the introduction of the Bacon fella who was working on the team of the King James version, the infiltration of people working in the translation department, I'll call it for lack of a better term, in the old days. Not to mention, there is the fact that the King James authorized this church to translate the Word of God, and this church was the very descendants of the church that hung Jesus up on that cross. We're talking about the descendants and the sons and daughters of those same people who dejected Christ and wouldn't have anything to do with him. So, you know, a couple of generations later, we're all going to write a book. You know, we're talking about the very same people that wanted to wipe out the king off the throne so they could remain to be king. So, you know, with that said, I tend on that subject to just use my common sense of what spirit is. We talk about spirit all the time, spirit of Christmas. We talk about team spirit. We talk about in the spirit of good play, and the spirit of this, and the spirit of that. And don't think that those spirits don't have reality because they're not biblical, or there's something that man had just made up. The man relatively had just made up the spirit of Christmas. Christmas ain't been going that long. That's what we know Christmas to be. The the Santa Claus, the elves and the reindeers and all that type of stuff. It hadn't been going on this earth very long. But look what it's become today. When the spirit of Christmas hits this nation 4 months before Christmas even gets here, people are already going to the stores and getting soaked in that spirit of Christmas music on the radios and being pulled in to this man-made, silky smooth, milky atmosphere that we can all put on turtleneck sweaters and look like a Johnny Mathis album cover, sipping our eggnog at our Christmas parties from the office and whatnot. Everybody loves that shit. What is that? That's the spirit of Christmas. It has an effect on people. It makes people behave in a certain manner. And it's a man-made thing. So if you say Jezebel, the whole spirit of Jezebel is man-made doctrine, I don't think it really matters if man made it or not, because the spirit is still there. You can still see a lot of people acting and behaving exactly as Jezebel did through olden times. And you can take that for what it's worth, take it or leave it, it don't matter. But my point is, just because you say something is not biblical doesn't mean that it's not a help by God. And God has given it to a people by unction or by notion. God gives people things that's not biblical all the time. That's what unctions and notions are for. In fact, that's how we get through the things in the Bible that may have been tampered with, or may have been misconstrued, or may have been defiled. God helps us through these unctions. So I appreciate your comment, but at the bottom line, at the end of the day, because something's not biblical, as you say, it really doesn't prove that it's not of God. Uh, and I know you could probably find places where it says if it's got to be the Word of God, it says it. But I just explained to you what I think about the infallibility possibility of what's written in the King James Version. That being said, after I say that, I always like to follow up with, I do, and if I do believe that God's intent is very much in that book. I just don't believe that man hasn't wiped his ass with it and changed words and changed this and that to get his gain. But God will win in the end, whether he's tampered with the word and where he's jimmied up it to change to make it say what he wants. I think God is quite capable of getting his spirit across through damaged goods. He's always has in the past, and I think he always will. And yeah, I just said the Bible is probably damaged goods, and I think it probably is. But think about that term. It's damaged goods. The Bible is good, but it has been damaged because it's not impervious to man tampering with it. Hell, we got Bibles floating around right now that was printed 20, 30 years ago for homosexuals and deviants and everything of that nature, that want to say they are of godly people but don't want to listen to God's rules and convictions about certain things and activities. So are we going to take those books under our breaths too? Well, why should King James be any different? And about this whole spirit of Jezebel thing. And then, to me, that's a way that God can talk that man can't tamper. It's a story that there's so many stories that are repetitive in the Bible that if you read enough of them, they start to take shape. And how Jezebel acted and behaved, controlled people, connived, and got her way, and then worshipped Baal under the flag of Israelite. I think is interesting how a lot of people are today. So anyway, thank you for your comment, and those are my thoughts on your comment. Okay, take it easy there, people of Earth.